Tyria then, episode 28. I think this is the first one I've opened by not saying hello everyone, welcome to Tyria then, episode XYZ.
I think that is correct, yes.
Welcome, Miko.
Hello, Aaron.
Yes, Aaron is here as well. This is episode 28, everybody, and we have been around Istan a little bit, haven't we, Miko?
We have. We've been feeling the Istan vibe.
We have, yeah. We did a lot of side questing today. We did a couple of like generic primary quests for beginner characters, kind of tutorial type stuff. Introduced us a little bit to like the reputation systems that exist in Istan. Miko, have you checked your house for mimes recently?
No? Should I be looking somewhere for them?
Yeah, no, that's what I learned from my play session this production cycle is that we have a serious lack in our lives of checking for mimes, and that's a really important thing that we need to be doing on a regular basis. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, because mimes can be annoying and also sometimes a little scary.
Yeah, we're going to talk about mimes today, guys. You'll find out why that is in a little bit. And we haven't delved too deep into like the plot of Nightfall yet. The plot of Nightfall hasn't even really started yet.
No, not
But
really.
where would you say we are in the narrative of the game so far?
So far we have joined the sunspears, or we've been elevated to the position of go get your rank up. You're no longer an apprentice.
Yeah,
And
we've kind of advanced through our apprenticeship program out of high school, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And so now Cormier has sent us off to get good, and so that's what we're doing. And I think we both picked up secondary professions, so we're kind of officially on our way now.
I don't think you're a real person in Guild Wars until you have a secondary profession. I think you're like a second-class citizen.
Yeah.
You don't have
kinda.
rights. You're a civilian until you achieve a second profession.
Right.
Yeah, we've kind of gotten cleared by the mega corporation that is the Sunspears into being like a full-time employee, right?
Yep.
Talked to a guy named First Spear Devad because we each hit level 5. Miko did last episode. I kind of did it in the play session for this episode. And Devad is like, all right, here's some paperwork. Take it to HR. Get signed up for your 401k,
This
right?
is basically what Devad always tells us to do.
Yes. No, he's definitely like he's in recruiting. Go talk to Devad in recruiting. And then once you get signed on full time and you've got a new supervisor, then you never hear from Devad ever again.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, we're gonna be working. We've got a primary quest this episode that we're gonna do next episode that is gonna kind of start us down the line of working pretty much for Cormier directly. But yeah, Devad, once we hit level 5, by doing all those quests that Miko told us about last episode, he gives us this quest to get the second profession, and we got to go talk to some profession trainers.
Yeah. We only have to talk to one to complete the objectives of the quest, which was kind of interesting.
And I think that's exactly what we both did, is just talk to one.
I did, yes. I wasn't feeling well, so I was just like, who's around? Who's closest? How far do I not have to run?
Yep, and I had already made the decision to be a dervish warrior. I was toying around with the idea of dervish assassin. Dervish assassin is kind of a gimmicky thing you'd run for, like, if you wanted to run people places, whereas dervish warrior, if you want to hit stuff, it's a good combo.
Yeah.
So I went and talked to a warrior profession trainer named Nijiri, and Nijiri may or may not have, like, some sort of condition where she thinks she's talking to Balthazar.
Okay.
Yeah, like mid-conversation, she'll be like, hey, what's that, Balthazar? Oh, Balthazar's saying that you're a giant shitter. Like, that type of thing. She kind of uses this, like, made-up connection to Balthazar to, like, diss the hell out of you. I don't know. She gave me 4 great justice, which is all I really wanted. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah. There's several dervish skills that, like scythe attacks that require building up of adrenaline. So dervish warrior, just for this one skill, is, like, a good idea. And there's also a skill I want to get down the line called Heart of Fury, which just increases your attack speed by 33%, and it's an adrenaline skill. So that's all. That's all coming together for me.
Nice. Yeah.
And which profession did you go with?
So I went with Ranger as my secondary profession. only because I wanted Antidote Signet again. I
Yes.
missed it, and it's such a good skill. And I got tired of like running into the necromantic scales around the plains of Janir. I'm totally screwing that up right now.
Plains of Janthier, ladies and
Janthier.
gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It's definitely Plains of
Anyway,
Jaren and not Plains of
John,
Janthier.
there we go. Woo, it's been a long day. Yeah, so I was like, I'm annoyed. I need a cleanse that's gonna be not heavy on energy. And hey, look, a signet. I know which one that I want, and so I decided to go for ranger. I talked to one ranger trainer who wasn't very interesting. She's like, hey, look, I shoot things with bows. Isn't that cool? And I'm like, thanks.
You're like,
Give me
been
my
there, done
skills.
that. I played all of
Yeah.
Prophecies doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I don't care. Just give me my antidote signet, and we're good.
Do you
So,
now
yes.
have Antidote Signet? Like, is it available to you?
It is available. It is not yet on my bar, I think. I can't remember.
You gotta find that good skill trainer.
Yeah. Well, I want to. No. I do have it unlocked. I did check that. But I haven't put it on my build because I've been playing around with different skills because I'm very new to Paragon, as I talked about last episode. So I haven't really found a combination of skills that I've settled on yet. I just know that I'm going for a heroic refrain build.
What does heroic refrain do? That's the elite, I
man.
imagine, right?
That is the elite, yes. And now you're gonna have to make me Google it for you. Not Google it.
Did the PVX wiki inform you that this was a good idea?
Yes, it says that it's meta, and I was like, meta's good, and I don't know Paragon, so give me a build that I know will work. And it didn't even matter what secondary profession you take. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Just, you need like 4 skills, slot in whatever 3 others you want, and you're good to go. And I was like, cool.
That's how a lot of the PVX wiki builds work, because that's the Vow of Strength Dervish build that I looked up on PVX wiki also has like 4 skills you need, and then the rest they're like, yeah, put in whatever PvE only Eye of the North skills you like, because that's how every build works these days.
Yeah, so apparently this skill was added to the game as part of the 15th anniversary celebration in 2020.
Okay, so this is one of the anniversary elite skills, like the profession elite skill.
Yes, and
which means it's ridiculously good.
Pretty much, yes. It's an elite echo, and for X amount of seconds, it targets non-spirit allies. So, when I get a minion master of my thing, this is going to be great. And it raises the allies' attributes by X amount. So 1, 3, or 3. And every time the chant is reapplied, or the echo ends, the echo is reapplied every time a chant or shout ends on that ally.
So as long as you've got like a spammable short duration chant or
pretty
shout,
much,
this just does itself.
Yes.
I like that.
So I like it too. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to capture it. I've got to go and find.
I think you got to go to like the Great Temple of Balthazar and like get a quest.
I don't know. I gotta go find it out. It is a Nightfall skill. I've got to find Yoan the Rebuilder.
That's a great.
And it requires. I know, and it requires a party member to be carrying a proof of triumph, which I'm pretty sure I've got one in my bank. So
yeah, you're on like a real account that's been playing the game for a long time, so you have these proofs. I would be screwed if I needed this skill.
Yeah.
So you got.
If that doesn't work out, then I'll find something else.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So you're pursuing short-term goal antidote signet.
Short-term goal antidote signet. Yes, that was an aside. Short-term goal antidote signet. So I can throw it on my bar. But the build that I'm building towards, working towards, is the heroic refrain build.
And that's a
and if
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if any of our listeners out there have any experience with this build or any other builds that you'd like to recommend, please let me know.
Yes, hopefully this comment prompt is early enough into the show where people will engage. No, we get a good amount of comments. But this is a good time to drop in that this is our first sponsored episode of Tyria Then, brought to you by Antidote Signet. Go to your local store and ask for a copy of Antidote Signet and give them code Tyria then for 15% off. No, I'm joking, but we do use Antidote Signet a lot.
Yes, it is goated, and we like it a lot.
Yeah, if you take one thing away from this show, slot Antidote Signet on your bar when you're playing Guild Wars 1. It's a game changer.
Yep.
Miko, what is a mandragore?
A mandragore is like this spindly-legged little bug with like little pincers in its mouth, and it's annoying.
Yeah, they're kind of like an amalgamation of everything you know about bugs crammed into one giant bug.
Yeah. Which is pretty much the story of Istan so far. There's a lot of like crazy, amped up, roided up bugs and plants. And you're like, I don't know what's going on over here, but okay.
Yeah, the bugs in Istan look like there's like whatever they eat. There's just like anabolic steroids in the soil. In
pretty much,
or something.
Something is happening. It's very strange.
They're all enormous. And mandragores in particular, they like burrow underground and they patrol. And they're running around kind of that like the outskirts areas of Plains of Jaren, and they annoyed me this episode. They turn your health bar all sorts of unpleasant colors.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, they've got every like health degenerative effect there is. So that was something that I don't think we talked about mandragores last episode.
No, I don't think we did. I don't think either of us had run into them.
Yeah, definitely not. I did most of the quests that Miko did last episode. I did want to point out a few things I noticed about him. Okay. That proof of courage quest where you go and chase down that guy's sword for him that got... He says he like buried it in the back of a Corsair and then the Corsair ran away.
Yes.
When you track down this group of Corsairs, you can actually find the wounded Corsair that he stuck the sword in. And he's just like kneeling off to the side. So you're like fighting the rest of the Corsairs. But this one Corsair, who is hostile still, his nameplate is red. He's just kneeling in the corner and he doesn't fight back.
Because apparently wounded actually means wounded.
Yeah, exactly. And you could just go over and like cold-blooded execute this man. Which I thought was bizarre.
It's a little sick. But I guess the sunspears that's what you have to do.
It was a different time, right? Like it was kill or be killed.
Right.
Except for this instance where this man was kneeling on the ground, not fighting back at all. And my group of heroic individuals just surrounded him and beat him to death with our weapons. And then the sword isn't even sticking out of him anymore. You just go over to a chest and pick it up. So
I know, isn't that interesting? I was just like, why? Oh,
there was some weird energy there.
Shouldn't it have been on the floor at least, or like?
Yeah, or he should have dropped it
out of him.
I didn't see the chest, so I thought he would drop it when I killed him, which is why I honestly just murdered this person. So yeah, weird energy in the proof of courage quest. It didn't seem very courageous at all. In all honesty. And then I did pick up that Feast of Boca quest that you were talking about, where you got to go and get the food items.
Yeah, it's an interesting little scavenger hunt.
Yeah, it's from a guy named Royal Chef Hatundo in Plains of Jaren. And he's an envoy of Prince. He's not really an envoy. He's like the personal chef of Prince Boca the Magnificent, who is one of the prince rulers of a place called Vabi, which is a country up to the north that we're going to go to later. Kind of a good little world building quest to give us some more information about the surrounding area. And we just got to go get some like food for him. Some collectors have these food items. You got to bring like relevant monster parts to make the food. Right. Did you acquire any of these food items?
I acquired the scalefin soup because I got 2 scalefins to drop for me.
Did the scalefin soup guy have anything interesting to say about scalefin soup?
He was like, there's nothing quite like waking up to a bowl of scalefin soup. Bring me 2 scalefins and I can put a pot on to simmer for you. It was pretty bland. I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
The Panay salad guy, which you get for giving this dude 2 iboga petals, I think his name is Chef Valon. He's in Champions Dawn. He says that the spicy taste of the Panay salad is almost enough to cover up the immediate nausea that it causes. Which is concerning to say the least. I mean,
ibogas are, because you've got to give them iboga petals, but they're like Ibogas are mesmers, and they will like just drop imagined burden and all sorts of just ridiculous stuff. So I could see that. They are kind of like big and
I wouldn't
scary
eat.
looking.
I wouldn't eat one. They don't look appetizing.
No,
Yeah.
no.
But I imagine if you know anything about Prince Boca the Magnificent, who we'll meet later in the game, he's probably very bored and just needs
Maybe.
and also doesn't know what he's getting himself into.
He's a bit bacchanalian, isn't he?
He's just very. He's kind of. I hesitate to say Jabba the Hutt. I think that's going too far. But he's got that kind of energy. Except he's not like overtly evil, right?
Right.
He's just kind of a King Henry VIII type of guy.
Sure.
Did you rise in the ranks this playthrough, Miko?
Yes. I am. By the time I was done, I'm somewhere along a second sunspear rank.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a quest called Rising in the Ranks that you can get at the Sunspear Great Hall from a dude named Runduck. He's like the HR manager for the Sun. The Sunspears have a very corporate like structure.
They really do. Go to this guy. He'll make you make sure that you go to the next thing, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he gives us a quest to get to Master Sergeant, which brings us to like how this ranking system works for the Sunspears and like the rank up title system that's in place in Nightfall for like gathering reputation. There's a few factions that you can gain reputation for, not unlike the Kurziks and the Luxons in factions. But you like go through ranks, and the higher rank you get access to like some skills from like the skill guy for that faction. Yeah. And the way you earn these points is doing quests and taking the bounties from the guys at the res shrines. Like the Sunspear scouts at the res shrines will be like, "Hey, I'm the plant guy. Go kill plants, and you'll get points." It's not complicated.
And
yeah,
they're free. You don't have to pay for these bounties. I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah, you just take them, which is great. And once you get to Master Sergeant and you turn this quest into Runduck, he'll give you a skill called Sunspear Revive Signet or something. It's just the same thing as Resurrection Signet, but it gets stronger as you advance rank as a Sunspear.
Yeah.
And then you also said you talked to the hero skill trainer next to Runduck, and he had an additional Sunspear skill for you?
Yeah, Shiloh. Shiloh had There's Nothing to Fear, which I took that for my heroic refrain build, and it's pretty good.
Oh, cool. What does it do?
It makes your allies, party members within earshot, take 20 to up to 35% less damage.
That's just wholesale across the board, very strong.
Yeah.
And it'll only get better as you level up as a Sunspear.
Yeah, and they are also healed for 35 to 60 health when the shout ends.
What kind of energy cost are we looking at for this?
I think, is this a... Yeah, no, I can't remember now.
If it's like a 5 or 10, like I'd spend 10 energy on a skill like that.
Strong. 4 seconds plus 1 second every time to do that. Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not seeing the energy cost.
Is there no energy? Is it a free skill? No energy cost?
It might be. It might be it's not an adrenaline. Oh, sorry, it's 15. Sorry.
15's pretty fair since it's such a strong skill.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, and it lasts for a while.
Yeah, I'd spend 15 energy on that.
Yeah. It's 4 seconds and 1 second for every 2 ranks in leadership. So if you're maxing up your leadership points, then that cost is going to go down.
Oh, okay. So you can improve this skill by gaining ranks as a Sunspear and by building your leadership.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's an interesting skill. I am, like I said, I'm new to Paragon, so I'm learning a lot of things about how skills work, and because I'm not familiar with it, I'm playing around with a lot of skills. So I've got currently slotted in a lot of Spear Mastery that work on adrenaline. I'm trying to use some signets that actually kind of help you boost adrenaline, but you need chance and shouts to be on your bar as well. And I'm just trying to make sure I get my rotation down, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't talk to the hero. I talked to the hero skill trainer before I talked to Runduck, and then I didn't talk to them again after, so I don't have any of those sweet skills yet. But I do have my eye on the warrior Sunspear skill, Whirlwind Attack,
Yeah, that's on. He will offer it, so you want to get that one
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
I've got a skill on my bar right now called Chilling Victory, which is an adrenaline skill, and it's like it's
Hmm.
pretty good, but I would prefer to have whirlwind attack. So,
Yeah.
hopefully I'll be grabbing that the next time I log in. And then he's got more like rising in the ranks quests. Like I think right now we're both working on getting to first spear.
Yes, that is correct.
I think we're both second spear right now.
Hmm.
You need like 400 points or something to get to first spear, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, One thing that I wanted to point out was that there is a collector in the Sunspear Great Hall named Sayal. Um,
Yeah.
and Sayal claims to have been slipped a love potion,
Yes.
which I think is like we have no idea what like the rules are about love potions in Tyria, right?
Right.
Um, and she says she needs the antidote, which is the sentient seeds she's collecting.
Hmm.
She says she needs it before one of the brothers that she suspects gave her the potion, quote, takes advantage of the situation. It's really bizarre that she's been slipped this love potion, but she's like seems to be a fully aware that that been slipped a love potion, and b not remotely in love with whoever slipped her the potion.
Yeah, that's interesting.
um,
Um,
I'm not sure how well love potions work. At least this particular love potion, it seems to be utterly ineffectual.
yeah, and the two brothers are also collectors that she's talked to or that she mentions. They're but they think that they've given her something for her headaches.
Yeah, I ran into one of them, and yeah, he says that he's trying to cure her headache. So this could also just be a massive misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Like they are in love with her, but I think they might have. I don't know. I don't know. I'll report back if I find the other brother. Yeah, it's a bizarre situation with Sayal over at the Sunspear Great Hall.
Yeah.
So you and I, we've been to a few outposts this playthrough.
Yeah, I unlocked several outposts.
Yeah, so I apart from Camadan and the Sunspear Great Hall, which is kind of where what we primarily dealt with last episode. Um, I think we took a few more Camadan quests, and then I went to Champion's Dawn,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yep, I
kind
did as
of
well.
just like it's just like a field with with some rock walls around it. It's not a very remarkable outpost.
Right.
And then I also went to the Astralarium, which I think you went to as
Yep.
well. And
Yep.
this is like a very ornate outpost with like some gold pedestals and stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called the Astralarium. I believe it's like an observatory
Yeah.
for like looking at space.
Looking at the stars,
Did you
trying to
find
chart the. Mm-hmm.
did you find a single quest to take in the Astralarium?
No. No, and there's lots of named NPCs in there, which make me think that we'll get some. But they're blocked or being gated by the story. Because that's
Yes.
something that ArenaNet did with Nightfall. They didn't let you just pick up any old side quest that will help you understand the world. They're like, no, play the story, please, and then you can get your quests.
Yeah, so we kind of had to hunt for our quests a little bit this episode.
Hmm.
One thing that I did think was cool about the Astralarium is that it does add some henchmen. Henchmen take a little bit of a backseat in Nightfall because Nightfall is really pushing the hero mechanic, and the
Yeah.
heroes are like characters in the story. But there's a couple new henchmen here. There's Odura, the domination henchman. She's a
Yep.
mesmer. There's Timira, the brawler henchman. She's a warrior. Obviously, Timira probably does not get a lot of playtime because most people are going to have Koss with them.
Right.
And then there is Abasi, the hunter henchman. Did you talk to these people?
I did, because I knew you were going to ask me, and I was like, I'm going to talk to them this time.
Yeah, what were you able to learn about the new henchmen?
So Tamara says that she's always wanted to be a sunspear, and she used to carry Cormier's spear for her on parade days when Cormier would let her.
I assume a
So
parade day is like in the military when you like go out and show like all your rank
yeah.
formations and
Hmm.
such.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she would like carry Cormier's spear. That's pretty cool, kind of like a squire sort of thing.
Yeah.
And her armor is really cool.
Her armor is really cool.
I was looking at it. I was like, I think it's similar to the Sunspear warrior armor, but it's like a modified one. It's super neat.
Mhm. Yeah.
There
It's very
is
cool.
Odura, the domination mesmer henchman. She says she's from Vabi, which Strap in. We're gonna meet a lot of fucking people from
A
Vabi.
lot of Fabians, yes.
There's a whole influx of people from
And
Vabi.
they're very like well dressed, very
Yeah.
shiny looking.
Yeah, Vabi is kind of a wealthy merchant nation.
Mm-hmm.
Up to the north. It's where that Prince Boca guy we were talking about who wants all the food is from.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 3 princes, and each of them have a envoy that's in Istan right now, and we can get a quest from each of them. Miko, I think you did all, or you at least took all of them. I missed one of them. And yeah, we're just going to be interacting with a lot of Vabians. This Odura lady says she was sent to Istan to like study, and then her sister was sent to Tyria. And that's really all I read into that. But you looked it up on the wiki, didn't you?
Yeah, I looked it up on the wiki, and her sister is called Eridine, and she is at Serenity Temple.
Which is where who from the previous campaign is from.
Isn't that Menlo?
Yeah, Menlo's from Serenity Temple.
Yeah.
Who else is bonus points? Bonus round. Who else trained at Serenity Temple?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Lena, the protector henchman.
Yeah,
from
yes,
Guild Wars 1.
that's right. Yes.
I remember finding that out and being like, "That's wild."
Yeah, Serenity Temple, cool place. Yeah, but Eridine has a model. It doesn't even look like she's related to Odura. They're very dissimilar looking. So I thought that was interesting because whatever.
Which it's probably an afterthought. Making them
probably
sisters.
an afterthought. They gave Eridine the same model as Lady Althea.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And so, but she's got a cool mesmer armor.
Yeah, there's really unique designs that go into the henchmen in Nightfall in particular. Which is, it's kind of a shame that we're not going to be using them too much. But we're going to be using them until we get a full hero roster, which isn't going to be for a while. So
yeah.
In fact, in Nightfall, I think there's enough heroes in Nightfall to get a full roster. I think it'll be a minute.
Yeah.
So we'll have our henchmen friends around for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Abassi, the hunter henchman. He's got like a cool, like edgy backstory. He says he used to be a corsair, and that he was called Evil Eye Abassi.
Yes, and he feels like he has to repay all of the harm that he did, and also he needs to repay the sunspears because Garaz, the dervish henchman, spared him.
Yeah, apparently they defeated him, took him in, and Garaz in particular, he names him, spared his life. He describes his past as, quote, a dark ocean of regret.
Yeah.
Which is a very edgy statement, but I also think it's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't take any of them. I stuck with Herta because she has a ward, and wards are great.
Yeah, I was playing around. I was playing around mainly. I took Herta for a bit. I tried Odura out because she's a mesmer, and mesmers are great. And I tried Garaz, and I ended up running mostly with Koss and Garaz and Kim the healer.
Gotcha. Yeah, you got to take the healer, right? So you got to take Kim, and then obviously I'm taking Koss because he's our hero. Right. So that really leaves me with only one flex slot, and I'm liking that ward that I don't even know which ward it is, but I like it that Herta has. So I'm rolling with that. But yeah, not really a whole lot to do in the Astralarium at the moment. There is some glowy purple glyph on the wall in the Astralarium. Not sure what that's about at this particular time.
I know. Yeah, it was very cool. And there is was he an emissary who's just kind of or a scholar who's just looking at it, and when you interact with him, he's just like, I'm studying this, isn't it cool or interesting? I need to find the secrets, but he doesn't really tell you anything else. And I'm like, surely that's a bit of what is going on here? It's very intriguing.
Yeah, cool, because we see the purple glowy glyphs in the opening cutscene for Nightfall, and Cormier, I think it shows Cormier Pyranatum, but it doesn't really go into anything more, and then we see that again here, so kind of just visually, some visual storytelling for us to notice if we're looking out for it.
Yeah. Because up till now, Cormier has just been like, we need to defend Istan for the Corsairs, but now that we've seen this glowy glyph in the Astralarium, and we saw it in the opening cutscene, makes me wonder. I think Cormier's up to something more.
Yes, and after we complete the primary quest to change our second profession, we get the leaving a legacy primary quest that neither of us have done yet, which is to accompany Cormier to recapture somewhere called the First City, which we don't know anything about, and to meet someone named Dunkoro, who is going to be helping Cormier with this.
I know. I had to refrain from interacting with him every time I left. Was it Champion's Dawn? Because he's standing outside, and I was like, "Hey, bro, what's up? I'll talk to you later."
Yeah, no, I definitely waved at Dunkoro as I walked past him several times. So we're going to be meeting him next episode and kind of starting to work more closely with Cormier next episode, and maybe we'll find out a little more about these purple glyphs that we've seen a couple times now. I did do a quest called Command Training. I think you skipped this one, right?
I did, yeah, because I was like, I know what that's about, and I don't want to do a tutorial quest right now.
Yeah, so Miko took the big hit doing the long tutorial in episode 27, starting Nightfall. So I decided to take the hit for us on doing the Command Training tutorial quest. It's just a quest that shows noobs how to flag heroes and henchmen to go places and stay there. It's a boring quest for a veteran player, but I think it's a really good quest to have for new players, because you'll have noticed throughout like this whole series, since probably episode 2, me and Miko have mentioned having to flag henchmen X, Y, and Z position to get through content. It's if you're playing alone, it's kind of an integral mechanic to being able to complete the game. So I think it's very, very important to teach new players about it. So it's good that there is a pretty short tutorial for it. This quest probably takes about 2 minutes. I'm glad that quest is there, even though it wasn't very engaging for me as a veteran player.
And also, I think what it serves to do is, because if you've played Prophecies and Factions prior to this, even as a veteran at the time when the game was first launched, you may have been familiar with flagging henchmen, but now with flagging heroes, you can actually flag individual heroes. So you can strategize the battlefield a little bit more, because you can flag individuals to go to different areas rather than your entire party of henchmen as a group.
Yes, and you can do this specifically with the first 4 heroes in your party. If you have a full hero party, you can't do it with your other ones, and that's just a remnant from how the initial system was put in. They must not have been able to make all the heroes flaggable, or they thought it would be too overpowered, because 7 heroes is super overpowered to begin with.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely be getting into some hero flagging in this playthrough, because some of the missions in Nightfall do require you to split your party, if I remember correctly. Not unlike the Eternal Grove mission in Factions, where you can't split your party.
Yeah, not if you're running solo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're gonna be getting into some trouble with Cormier next episode. I think from here on out, this episode we just did like side questing for the most part.
Yep.
As far as the quests that we like, we did a little bit of quest cleanup in Kamadan. I did want to mention the missing shipment quest that you get from the rune trader, because boy, do you get a sweet reward for this quest.
Yes, you get a minor rune of vigor.
Yes, which when this game came out probably wasn't as big a deal as it is now. A rune of minor vigor costs like 3,000 gold at the rune trader. For anyone who isn't aware, rune of minor vigor gives you plus 30 HP if you put it on an armor piece. It's just a really nice item for a new player to get for free. So yeah, I did that quest as soon as possible. Dervish armor also gives plus 25 health on the chest piece, just like as is. So my chest piece now gives me plus 55 health.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. And all this quest is she's like, I need a shipment of ink to make my runes, and it hasn't arrived. And you're like, let me guess, I gotta go get it.
Right, yeah. And let me guess, I've got to go fight some Corsairs, maybe?
Yeah, you go find it. It's just like sitting on the riverbank outside of Sunspear Sanctuary, Sunspear Great Hall, Sunspear Sanctuary, Sunspear Great Hall. Sanctuary is later. And it's just a chest, and as I'm walking up to the chest, I'm like, there's gonna be some shit that spawns when I touch this, isn't there? But there's not. You just pick it up and you give it back to her. It was very weird. It's very free. It's just a free, expensive rune. Highly recommend this quest to anybody who's new to the game.
Yes.
And there's a guy named Suwash, too.
Yeah. Oh, you ran into him as well. Yeah. Suash. So we meet his mother in Sunspear Great Hall. Her name is Seti. And she says, my son's never outgrown wanting to be a pirate. And he wore an eye patch, refused to bathe, started talking funny. And when our village was attacked by the Corsairs, they thought he was one of theirs. And so they took him. And she's like, please get him back.
And the behavior she's describing is like that of a small child, right?
Yeah. 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 And when you find him, he's not a small child. He's a grown-ass man.
He's a grown-ass man who's more or less just a person who has decided to become a Corsair.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got full-blown pirate lingo dialogue.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, like Treasure Island, Pirates of the Caribbean type of shit. Every other word in his dialogue is apostrophized in some way.
Yep.
So yeah, you can talk to him for some A grade cheese pirate lingo.
Yes.
And then you can kind of take the news. He basically says that he is not remotely interested in like coming back to town, and he's a Corsair now.
Yeah, and because we've killed all the Corsairs, he's like, and now I can take their ship and make it for myself.
Which I think like kind of solidifies his position as a Corsair, because that's a pirate ass move.
Oh yeah.
Hey, my whole crew is dead. I guess I'm the captain now.
Right.
Insert "I'm the captain now" meme from that Tom Hanks movie that came out like 15 years ago. So yeah, we got to go back and tell his mom the bad news that he's just a pirate now.
Yeah. And she's basically like, what? Well, he'll be back in time to eat, and when he does, I'll tan his hide, basically.
Yeah, there's big like helicopter parent vibes here. I would say mom probably drove him to this, if anything.
Right.
It's very similar to the Captured Son quest from Factions, where I have to go like liberate that guy from probably 40 Crimson Skull, only to find out that he was there voluntarily.
Right.
This quest is a lot easier than that quest.
It is. Yes.
So yeah, that was a kind of a pointless like endeavor that we had to engage in, but I got experience for it, so I'm not worried.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Did you do the identity theft quest from Shatam the Merchant in Camadan?
Yes, I had picked this quest up last time and hadn't done it, but this time I did complete it. And it takes you to Champion's Dawn, where you've got to go and get information about a shipment of identification kits from an NPC called Kupikanu, which is a cool name.
It is, yeah.
And Kupikanu's like, sorry, but I'm busy. We've had a lot of shipments that have been delayed due to Corsair attacks, so if you're waiting on this one, you might need to go get it yourself.
Yeah, if you live in Istan and you are missing a shipment of something, you should just assume that Corsairs have stolen it.
Pretty much.
Because that's the narrative for a significant portion of quests.
Yeah, there's a lot of quests that will just give you, missing shipment as a quest item, as a drop.
Yeah, to the point where you'll have these quest items in your inventory and you're like, I don't know which shipment goes with which quest.
I know.
But yeah, this guy tells me that I've got to go get it from the Corsairs, and I'm like, really? I'm shocked. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Truly.
So yeah, we go into Champion's Dawn and we butcher some Corsairs and grab this shipment, and we take it back to the merchant, and he gives us an identification kit for free.
Yes.
Which is kind of nice because it's free identifies. Those cost money, so I'm happy with that. It's just a regular identify kit, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
And I think you get like sunspear points, and have we talked about what a battle commendation is?
We have not. No.
It's like a monastery credit.
Yeah, it's the currency, the local currency for stuff.
I think there's a sunspear quartermaster in the Great Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even checked to see what I can get. I hope I can get superior salvage kits. That's all I care about.
You can get expert salvage kits.
I'll take an expert salvage kit. I think I got one of those from one of the armor guy or something for doing his quest that we talked about last episode. Because he was like, "Oh, I'll give you a salvage kit." I was like, "Yay, a regular salvage kit!" And then it was an expert one, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I know. That was a really nice reward.
Yeah, Nightfall's handing out some like real ass rewards for quests. They're like,
Yeah.
I think Nightfall, if you're going to start playing Guild Wars from scratch, I would say Nightfall is almost the campaign to start with, because your new player experience is going to be very high quality compared to
Yeah.
the other two.
Well, and they've clearly they learned from what they'd done in Prophecies and in Factions, so they're kind of building on their own experience
Yeah, you're going to be
to
extremely
improve things.
well tutorialized, and they're going to give you little things to like boost your just your itemization and resources, like
Hmm.
identification kit and an expert salvage kit, so you can kind of start playing the game competently very quickly without having to like scrounge for gold for these things and stuff.
Hmm.
And then you
Yeah.
can have extra gold to like buy the upgraded armor when you get somewhere, right? Instead of being like, oh, I
Yeah.
spent 400 gold on a salvage kit, now I can't buy armor.
Yeah, and a lot of the collectors, the one in the Sunspear Great Hall who was slipped the love potion, she's got like identification kits and salvage kits and a bag, I think, as well. So so long as you get like sentient seeds, if you just got them hanging around, you can always just go turn them in to her, and you don't have to spend money.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing with all the that's what I've been doing with all the collectibles since like Prophecies, really, is just keeping whatever
Hmm.
regions collectibles are in my inventory,
Hmm.
just in case, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
did end up doing that belt pouch collector quest that you
Oh
blew
yeah.
off last episode.
Yeah. How was
Um,
that?
I just like I acquired the termite legs through all my other gameplay, so it was like not even having to do a quest.
Oh, well, there
Um,
you go.
yeah, so I gave that to her, and spoiler alert, she gives you a belt pouch.
Yeah.
So I have that now, and I did since I've done 2 playthroughs already, I have quite a bit of money, so I bought myself a
Excellent.
couple of bags, and I bought myself a couple of runes of holding, and now my
Sweet.
character's inventory is maxed out.
Same. Excellent.
Very good feeling.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think what else? What other trouble were you able to get into this episode?
So while I was running identity theft,
Mhm.
um, you have to go and get this lost shipment, and it's out in the cliffs of Dojok. And I ran across a guy called Vodben. Did you meet this guy?
I
He's just kind of
did.
hanging out.
Yeah, and when you talk to him, his dialogue starts with some red text that I found very concerning.
Yes, it says difficulty master, and I went, oh right,
Because
these
he's
are
got
the
he's got a quest exclamation over his head.
he does, yeah. So I was like, oh, what's he got to say? He's just staring at a wall. Um, and then it said difficulty master, and I was like, well, this will probably be a little bit difficult because difficulty master, but it's a starter area, so how difficult can it really be?
And I don't
Um,
think any of the prophecies and factions don't have these master difficulty quests. I think master
no,
difficulty was introduced with Nightfall, and I think elite difficulty quests are introduced in Eye of the North.
yeah.
Unless the Domain of Anguish is an elite difficulty quest, then that's Nightfall too.
I'm
Not sure.
trying to think the one in prophecies that we did that took us out on a jaunt.
So Villainy of Galrath was
That one.
always a regular quest, as far as I'm aware. Now, viewers, if you have different information that's better than mine, please feel free to drop the knowledge in the comments, because I like learning stuff. But I think that was a regular quest because it was one of the first quests they designed.
Hmm.
The hard mode version of the quest, I think, is labeled as a master difficulty quest. And
Okay.
that was put in the game like in that 2011 7 Hero update, I want to say. But yeah, so I think they added some master difficulty hard mode quests to the other campaigns later.
Okay.
But this is kind of your first taste of what a master difficulty quest is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How'd this go for you?
Not well.
What is the quest context? What does he have to say?
So he is looking at this monument, and he's like, I am studying. I cannot leave my equipment and my research papers here unattended. I need to go get my tools, and I left them at my camp. Can you just sit here and watch the monument, make sure that the Corsairs don't come, and I'll be right back. Shouldn't take me more than a few minutes. And I was like, oh, someone, literally what your accept dialogue is, wow, someone willing to go get their own stuff? I'll totally stay here and take the easy job. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is such a bait. I know it's going to be a pain in the ass kind of defend quest, but I accept it anyway.
Yeah, the quest is trolling you deliberately, and it definitely set off my alarm bells. I was like, wait, master difficulty, trolling response quest, quest acceptance dialogue. This is going to be a nightmare. I was only level 6 when I came across this, I want to say, so I opted to not take this at that moment. And you did.
I was either 6. Yeah, I was either 6 or 7. I think I may have ticked over to 7 after I finished this quest. But you run across, you get level 4 and 13 ridgeback scales.
That's like double your level.
Yeah. And level 4 scale biters, they were easy to kill, except that they like to put disease on you. And then level 6 and 14 frigid scales.
14.
And
goodness.
I was out there with Koss and Garaz and Kim the healer and me. Party of 4. And,
Kim's got like 1 skill. She's got like Orison of Healing.
She's got others, but you know, she's just not. She's not able to keep up with the amount of damage that's coming in.
She's not ready for level to be assaulted by like hordes of level 14 scale.
No, because the scale, when they don't attack Garaz and Koss, they're coming for Kim or me. And
you can kind of take the hit. Paragons get max armor.
Well, kind of
max armor rating for like your level, right?
Right.
But Kim has caster armor and she's not prepared.
No, not at all. And it was not a good time. I died.
How many times did you die?
Well, I ended up with 60% death penalty.
Okay.
And I hit that pretty early in the attempt for this quest.
And you're in normal mode, so you can just keep dying. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Thankfully, there is a res shrine that's not that far, which one should have been my first hint. That this was, designed and placed strategically.
This quest is like one of those wooden box traps with a string where you
pretty much
you lure them in with like a pepperoni sausage and then you pull it.
I went for the pepperoni sausage and I got trapped, and so then I got stubborn, and so what I ended up doing was flagging my party so that they wouldn't run out, and I went up and pulled the remaining enemies to the res shrine essentially. And I was like, well, I'm not going to run. Keep running back and forth from the res shrine. What's the point? I'll just stay at the res shrine. Do a little death leveling? I don't know. And we'll kill them that way.
You may have leveled up 1 or 2 of these monsters by just dying to them repeatedly at the time.
I'm sure I did. Yeah, I'm sure I did. And I ended up defeating... Because what I was doing was calling targets so that Garaz and Koss would at least try and attack somebody together. And we ended up, I think I left a level 14 frigid scale for last. And we were all dead except for Koss. So badass Koss with his hero build got a couple of deep wounds onto the scale and then died. And then the scale died just from the bleed ticks.
So tick, the ultimate sever artery gash warrior combination that you get at level 1, saved the day.
Yes, it did.
Incredible.
And hurrah.
Yeah, so this quest, like this guy, so he showed up there and he needs you to watch his spot while he goes and gets his tools. A, my brother in Christ, you had 1 job, right?
Yes.
And 2, like if you look at where he's standing, what is so special about this spot that it needs to be watched? Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. B, who the hell is around to steal this spot?
No,
Scale, apparently, I guess.
There are no Corsairs around. There's just Scales and like some Jacarandas around, maybe kind of far away, and Ibogas. There's like plant life.
The Scales have like horticulture. They're out here trying to do, design a space. To have like a gazebo or something.
I don't know. And it's not like, there was no like glowy glyph on the side of the thing. I have no idea what he was so fascinated by with this monument that he thinks was cool. But there we go. But when you turn in the quest, he's like, "Oh, thanks. Looks like everything's how I left it. I hope you didn't get too bored." And I'm like, "You dick."
What's the quest accept dialogue?
The accept dialogue is, "Wow, someone willing to go get their own stuff. I'll stay here and take the easy job."
I mean, what's
But
the
what?
quest reward accept dialogue, or is there none?
No, that was it. He's like, "It looks like everything's how I left it. Hope you didn't get too bored."
Okay, so your character doesn't have anything to say back to that. You
No,
just accept the
no.
reward. It would be
Yeah,
great if
pretty
you
much.
could just be like, "Yeah, you're a dick."
Yeah, pretty much. But he gave me 2,000 experience, and he took my 60% death penalty down to 33% after that. After
See,
I accepted the reward.
yeah,
And I was like, thanks.
that's the little like cream donut that lures you into the cage is the
Yes.
2,000 experience drop. You're like, I would like to be another level up. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily you don't lose XP for dying in Guild Wars. You just get death penalty.
Yes.
Wow, so 2,000 wasn't even enough to knock out 60%. It only knocked out half of
No.
it.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I did not do this quest. I did a different master level difficulty quest in the Zelon Reach region, which I think both of us did some different quests in. There's a lot of quests in Zelon Reach, apparently.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are. It's a cool little area.
There's tons of them. What kind of
So
trouble? So I did my master difficulty quests in there, and I think you did 2 quests in there.
I did 2 quests in there. I did a Father's Fate and Scale and Magic Compass. And I came across this guy called Lieutenant Miranda, and he's a Vabian. And he is looking for siege weaponry because he reports to Prince Amtur the Mighty.
Who's kind of like the military mind of the 3 princes that rule the Vabian state.
Yeah, and what they want is they want siege weaponry from a brilliant engineer, not just any old engineer. He's a master engineer called Jacumba. And he's like, I need to convince Jacumba to come with us to Vabi and bring his mad skills with him and his badass weaponry so that we can turn the tide of our fight. Can you go and convince him for me? And I'm like, what? Okay. So I go out, find Jacumba, and Jacumba is like distraught. He's like, I can't. I'd love to work with them, but I can't. I've lost my precious magical compass. I can't do anything without it. I can't even draw a straight line, let alone a perfect circle. You're gonna have to just get me my compass back. It was I accidentally dropped it in the water, and the next thing I know, a fierce scale swallowed it whole.
Those are sharp.
And, yeah.
Scales have a remarkably robust digestive tract, apparently.
I guess, yeah. So you're like, okay, I've got to go and find this fierce scale. So the quest points you out to near the village in Zelon Reach. And what you've got to do is like take out a couple of patrols of hungry scale first.
Which I did run into when I was in the same area, but I did not have the quest.
Yeah. Well, once you kill the like 3 or 4 patrols of hungry scale, then the fierce scale spawns. You've lured him out. And so then you have to kill him. And then he'll once you kill him, he like spits up the magical compass, and you pick it up, puke and all, and take it back to Jacumba, and he's super happy, and he's like, yes, got my compass back. Now I can do anything. Sure, I'll go with the Vabians. And you go back and you tell Miranda, and Miranda's like, fantastic, thank you so much.
I like I like I like to think you just slapped it in his hand covered in goop.
In puke, yeah. I mean, yes.
Here you go, brother. Go make perfect circles.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Now I will tell you that the fierce scale were also level 14, just like that master difficulty quest.
But you just had to fight one of them, right?
There was just one, yes. But he went down real easy, and I'm like, what happened? Because I only gained I was only like level 7, I want to say, at this point. maybe level 8, but still, that fear scale went down a lot easier than the ones in the difficulty master quest.
Probably just not as much pressure on your whole party, so they could all just
Maybe, who knows?
focus.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty amusing. So yes.
And before I did the master difficulty quest that I found, because west of those hungry scale, there is this village, and they've got like a problem going on. But before I did that, on my way up to that village, I found a guy named Hatuk in Zelon Reach. He's like off to the side in one of the rivers, because you do a lot of like mild wading in the Elonian maps. Like there's just little rivers everywhere.
Yeah.
You're like always ankle deep in the water. And this guy, if you walking past him and you don't see him, he'll go like in blurb dialogue, like on the screen, he'll go, "Psst, hey you, hey over here, I have a quest. Look at my green exclamation mark." Right. So he flags you down that way, and I go over to him, and he basically says that in his village, boys have to complete a rite of passage to become a man. And I assume he's like anywhere from like 16 to 20, right? He's got a grown man model.
Right.
And his assignment is to kill a giant iboga called the Great Fire Flower, which sounds like a Super Mario Bros. Boss.
Yes.
And he says he can't do it because he doesn't know anything about like hunting or killing, right? He's like, I don't know how to fight stuff, right?
Right.
His whole deal is just that he sucks at fighting. And he's been assigned to kill this great flower. So I got to go do it. In the spot where this great fire flower spawns, like 10 feet away, there's another iboga boss that's completely unrelated to the quest that's named Ratai, Flower of Dread, which is a way better name than the Great Fire Flower.
Yeah, why didn't they make him the boss for this quest?
Right, yeah. One of these is a Super Mario Bros. Boss, and one of them is an Elden Ring boss, and you can decide which is which. And so, like, I killed that other boss first, and I thought it was the quest boss, but I got hoodwinked by ArenaNet. So then I had to go over and kill the Fire Flower as well. It died so quickly that I don't even know what profession it was. I imagine it was probably a fire elementalist, given the name.
Right. Yeah.
And then this guy Hatuk shows up. I think he followed me over there. And he basically says, "Thanks. Now fuck off before anybody finds out that I didn't really do this." He's worried. He's worried that someone's gonna see that he didn't really do it. So I got to get scarce ASAP.
Yes.
So that was kind of a funny quest. I on my way to this village, because I'd done a little bit of, I actually did, the first time I did the Survivor title in Guild Wars 1, I did it on a dervish character in Istan. So I've explored a lot of Istan, and I was like, I remember that there's a village somewhere in Zelon Reach. So that's like what I was trying to find. I went the wrong way first. I went east instead of west and came up on this like boat dock with all these like super elaborate boats that are like, Elonian boats are cool, man. They're like shaped like birds and shit. It's really nice. Lots of like colorful paint. It's very cool dock. There's some Vobian folks on the dock, and they seem like they're important, but they don't have any quests for me right now.
Yeah, I bet you they will later.
Yeah, it seemed like they're all like, there's like 3 of them standing on this dock. I'm like, this seems very purposeful. I'm sure that something happens here at some point. But nothing for me there, so I went west and found the village I was looking for. When you talk to people at this village, all their dialogue blurbs just come up as ellipses, just like ... right? Nobody has any actual words to say except for a guy named Elder Balin, who is a quest giver. And as soon as I pull up this guy's dialogue, it also starts off with that red difficulty master disclaimer.
No.
So I know I'm in for it.
Right.
And but at this point, I'd already asked Miko if she did the master difficulty quest in Cliffs of Dojok. And she was like, yeah, I did it. And I was like, fuck, that means I have to do it. So I was like planning on doing that quest later.
Right.
But then the idea occurred to me, how about I do this one? And then I don't have to do that other one. And she can tell me about it.
Sure.
I didn't know how good of a decision this was until after doing this quest. But yeah, I'm happy with the way this played out. So the way this guy describes this quest to me is he's like, hey man, there's a foul evil presence in the village. It's been stealing the voices of all the villagers. He describes this like evil creature as the most vile of creatures, quote. And then he's like, a mime has visited the village.
A mime.
A mime.
Okay.
This village is under attack by a mime. I don't know if, because Ilona is based off of like African culture. I don't know if a mime has like a different context in African culture, but here in like traditional Western culture, a mime is like a guy in a striped shirt that pretends to bang on a glass window, right?
Yeah.
He's just not. I mean, I guess he could be horrifying in like the right psychological context, but yeah. So I gotta go defeat this mime and get the voices of the village people back because this mime is trapping them somewhere. So I take a jog like 30 feet over to the east and find Mime Island, which is just like a little mound.
Right.
Which is just like a little mound of earth in just off the riverbank. And this mime is standing up there. I think he's just called Mime. Might be called Evil Mime. I don't know.
Evil Mime, yeah.
Something like that. And he's got these jars around him. I don't remember if they have a specific name, but they're the jar. You click on them after you defeat them, and they release the souls of the villagers back to them. I was like, this mime is probably going to be like level 15 or something, right?
Right.
What you'd expect a master difficulty quest for like a level 7 party to be, because I think I'm level 7 at this point.
Sure.
This mime is level 24.
What?
Yeah, he's a level 24 mime. And I'm level 7, Koss is level 6, my henchmen are level 6.
Oh, man.
So here, however, this fight went extremely well for me. And I think there's a specific like set of ingredients that went into making this fight mostly palatable. Because I think this would be difficult for a generic level 6 or 7, even up to like level 10 party even. This mime is a mesmer, and he has a skill, I don't remember what it's called, but it like damages you for like 90 plus damage every time you use a skill or a spell. It's like empathy on steroids, basically.
Visions of Regret.
Yeah, Visions of Regret. Brutal skill.
It
very,
is
very
elite.
It's a super effective skill in like PvP, I want to say.
Yeah.
But do you remember when I told you about that side that I picked up at the end of Factions that's for this character?
Yes.
So it requires 9 side mastery.
Right.
And I wouldn't have been able to wield it yet if not for that Rising in the Ranks quest we did, which is a 15 attribute quest.
Oh.
With that quest turned in, I, and my +1 side mastery headpiece, I have 9 side mastery at level 7. So I can slap on this really sweet scythe.
Yeah.
So my scythe does 9 to 41 damage. It's got 20% armor penetration. It's got plus 15% damage when my health is above 50%. So I can quite literally auto-attack this mime and like effectively kill him myself while my party just supports me. So this was actually a pretty easy fight of a level 7 dervish auto-attacking a level 24 mime to death.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it went very well for me.
Well played.
Yeah, due to that fortuitous bit of planning on my end, this fight went very well, and I fairly handily defeated the master level quest. I flipped the jar. He doesn't drop anything, if I remember correctly. He just dies. I think there's a pretty hefty XP drop for it, though. And I popped the jars open, and there's no like animation or anything. It just is the quest updates, and the villagers have their voices back. And when you talk to the villagers in the village now, they've got like actual dialogue that's like, hey, thank you for getting our voices back. And the elder guy gives me, I think this was also a 2000 XP quest, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But yeah, just if you're going to pick one of these two to do, I'd recommend doing the
that's
mime
definitely
quest.
the one, that one.
Yeah, 100%. Because it sounds like the one Miko did is extremely difficult and harrowing.
It was a pain in my butt. Yeah, it was.
So that was my mime experience. I didn't even really get a good look at what he looked like. I was just kind of too focused on whether I could kill him or not.
Right, yeah, I mean, level 24, you'd think.
But for anybody who wants more mime action, this is not the last mime we are going to experience in Guild Wars Nightfall. And the next one, because I was hoping, like, given my knowledge of the game, I know that there is a section with a mime later on in one of the missions. And it involves, like, going toe-to-toe with emotes, right? Which is hilarious. Right. And I was hoping there was going to be some of that. I was like, am I going to have to, like, slash dance with this guy? But it's just a straight up fight. So if you're looking for some mime on mime emotive action, that's coming up. Don't worry. And I think you did one more quest in this region of the world.
I did, yeah. While I was out killing my hungry scale, I saw an NPC called Cinny, and she had a quest called A Father's Fate for me, and she is distraught because she says her father's soul has been trapped in the clutches of a dark spirit. And when you kind of enter the Zalon Reach area, you run past this like little shriny altar looking thing, and it's labeled as Ancient Remains.
It looks like the stage for a Guar concert.
Yeah, and it's not that far from Lieutenant Maronda. So I had actually seen the Ancient Remains first, and I was like, I wonder what that's about. So
I wondered the same when I wandered past them. Yeah, I wondered the same thing.
Yeah, and when I found City, and I was like, I bet you that's where I have to go. And sure enough, that's where I had to go. And you need to free her father's soul, and when you interact with the Ancient Remains, it spawns a djinn.
Which we don't have any experience with up to this point.
No.
What does a djinn look like?
They're kind of wispy and blue and floaty. They have generally I think some of them can have male models, but this one had a female model. This one was a dervish in profession.
Yeah, I believe that's modeled off of the water djinn monster type, which are blue, like they look kind of like what you'd think of as a banshee almost. And they're dervishes, and they make like a wah, 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 wah noise. They're cool. I like them. What level was it?
15.
Oh, big boy.
And her name was Lady of the Dead, but she was very easy.
You just nuked her down.
You nuked her down, and your quest updates. You go and tell Cinny, and she's very happy that her father's soul has been freed and saved. And then she says, my father always said life is pain. Anyone who tells you different is selling you something.
Which I missed, but you mentioned to me when you first told me about this quest that is a line from a film.
Yes, it's from The Princess Bride. So that was a nice little Easter egg.
Yes, I should really rewatch Princess Bride. It's been forever.
It's such a good movie.
I used to watch it all the time. It was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
It's great.
It's like prime time to revisit. Everybody in the comments, go watch Princess Bride and come back next episode and let us know what your favorite line in the movie is.
That's right.
How to even pick one, right?
I know, yeah.
To close the episode, I think we kind of saved the best quest for last. A quest called Scholarly Affairs.
Yes.
This was probably my favorite quest that we did. I don't know. I quite like the mime quest too. But this one's pretty amusing and has a lot of like different parts to it and is constructed in kind of a weird way. You get this from a guy named Mifune in Champion's Dawn. So we've talked to the guy sent by Prince Boka the Magnificent of Vabi. Miko talked to the person sent by Prince Amtur the Mighty of Vabi. This Mifune guy is working with a dude named Zerai the Learner, who has been sent here to do some archaeology on behalf of Prince Metu the Wise of Vabi.
Yes.
And we have to escort Zerai the Learner, which is the Learner. It's a weird moniker. We got to escort him over to Jokener Diggings, which is like a archaeology place that they're digging up remains and looking at statues and stuff, looking at vases. And so we got to go meet Zerai in Cliffs of Dojak and help him over there. What is Zerai's prime directive when you meet him?
He's really wanting to discuss his research, so he says, with a woman called Midauha.
His research here having huge quotation marks around it.
Yeah, huge quotation marks, yes. Midauha is a researcher as well. She's a scholar. And Zerai is really into her. And he wants to discuss ibogas with her. And so he thinks that collecting some iboga petals or iboga blossoms from these special ibogas called beautiful ibogas will be the ticket that he needs to win her over.
Iboga Bouquet is the new mission. Yeah, so we need to escort him, and he's like, hey, on the way, could you totally like hook me up with a sweet Valentine's bouquet for this?
Pretty much, you know,
researcher woman.
And judging on going on the whole, like you finished the Iboga petal dish for the Feast of Boca. If the dish makes you nauseous, I'm not so sure that a bouquet of Iboga petals or Iboga blossoms is a good thing.
Right, like maybe these smell like a corpse flower.
I mean, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. How easy was it for you to find all of these beautiful Ibogas? Because they're in specific spawns that you have to go find, and the quest does not point you to them.
No, they don't, and so you kind of have to hunt around for them. And you know, usually when you're out in Istan, you'll find Ibogas just kind of like hanging around everywhere, and in Cliffs of Dojak, they're just kind of like, where are you? I have to find you. And they're generally hanging out with Jacaranda, but these guys were hanging out with other Ibogas, regular ones. But you do have to hunt for them.
And you have to get all 12 of them. Yeah, you got to get all 12 because the quest only spawns 12, and you need 12 beautiful Iboga petals.
Yes.
So yeah, this was a pain because what happened to me was I got the first 3 groups. And then I see this portal at the top of the map, and I'm like, oh, that must be the portal to Jokin Digging. So I must have missed one. So I'm like going back and forth and not finding it. And then I finally wander over to the portal, and it's the portal to Zelon Reach. So I've deceived myself by not actually looking at information. And then I continued down the path, and I managed to find the 3rd spawn. But I also went on the wiki, and the wiki reminds you to stay to the northern path. If you didn't do that and you like went south, you'd be wandering around for a long time not finding the Ibogas you need.
Wiki editors, thank you for that hint because you saved me.
Yes. So yeah, once you get all these, the quest is kind of weird. What happened to you with Zerai trying to get him to Jokin Diggings?
Zerai is a very slow follower.
Yeah.
Which, you know, NPCs can follow you slowly in this game. I feel like Zerai follows you extra slowly. And if you get out of, or if he gets out of your aggro bubble range, he'll just kind of stop moving. And I didn't realize that he wasn't behind me, and I ran all the way into Jokin Diggings. My quest did not update, and I was like, son of a bitch. He got hung up somewhere, and I had to go and find him all the way back at the beginning of where the quest starts. And then I had to kind of make my way, because I was like, I'm not killing any more Ibogas. I've got all my petals. Hurry up and just follow me, dude.
Yeah, fortunately, the Iboga petals are not tied to the rest of the quest. So as long as you have all of them, you do not have to re-kill the Ibogas.
Yeah.
So you just kind of ran him there again.
Yeah, I ran him there, and I had to wait for him to kind of actually get near the portal, and then the quest updated.
Yeah, because he has some additional dialogue to give you before you step into the portal.
Yes. Yeah, he's like, oh, thank you so much. This is great. And one more thing, can you give these to Madaha for me? I'm a little shy. Thanks. And I'll hope we meet again. And that's it. He just takes off.
I've put an awful lot of work into making sure these two get together. Only for him to not talk to her.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to go and romance her for you, jerk. Can you go and talk to her yourself? Come on.
Yeah,
you were all excited about like showing her these plant specimens and talking your research with her.
And then you talk to her inside, and you find out she's totally into him too.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I just don't see what the problem is. But okay. So yeah, we do all the work in this romance plot only to have neither like them both miss each other.
Yeah, they totally need to get a room, and I don't know what will actually get them together finally.
They need to excavate like a section of the Jokin Diggings just to have their little private discussion. Yes.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of the resolution of the quest is we hand this woman a bouquet and say, we hand her a piece of paper that says, this is from Zerai the Learner. Check yes if you like him. Check no if you don't.
Right. And she's like, I'm totally into him. I hope I meet him again.
Yeah, so we're basically sitting in between them in class, passing notes back and forth
Pretty
between the two
much,
of them.
yes.
Zerai the Learner does crop up later in the game, I believe. So I don't know if we get
Yeah.
follow-up to this quest, but we do get more Zerai the Learner. So keep an eye out for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How are you? I think that was everything we did for the most part for this play session.
Yeah.
Because that quest takes us to Jokinder Diggings, which is where the main plot of the game is going to be taking us next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did buy some new armor in Jokinder Diggings.
I did as well, and I got a new weapon because the weapon that I had picked up from the Togo quest is customized for the character that ran the Togo quest, so I can't actually use it.
So you can't have that sweet Tengu spear.
No.
That sucks.
Yeah. So I'm either gonna have to play the Togo quest on my Paragon and get her own spear, or I'm gonna have to see if I can take a character that hasn't beat Shiro in to kick Shiro's ass and get a better spear. I don't know. We'll see what I do.
Are the historians is Dermond in Kamadan?
He is.
You could totally do it on your Paragon then, I think. I don't think you have to be level 20 to do those.
No, I don't think so, yeah. So, we'll see. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, so we've got some sweet new armor from Jokinder Diggings. We've got a mission to meet Cormyr and Dunkoro in Cliffs of Dojok next episode. That's where we'll be picking things up. Overall vibes of Nightfall so far I think are really good. I've been enjoying the music. It's a good change up from kind of the factions music is very atmospheric and like beautiful, and then the Nightfall music is very like heavy percussion, very action feeling, very dire.
Yeah, the battle music is very good.
Yeah, and just the overall vibe of the African culture really comes through. The visuals are very different from factions, which are very different from prophecies. Each Guild Wars game feels extremely visually unique.
Yeah,
and that's I think that adds to their kind of how each campaign stands alone on its own. I think it's added to a lot by how unique feeling they each are. How are you feeling about Nightfall so far?
Well, I was remembering why I disliked early part of Nightfall when I ran into that difficulty master quest. But other than that, Istan is an interesting place. I mean, we've got Corsairs, terrifying bugs and plants, Scree, which are basically harpies, which you can find in Cliffs of Dojak as well. But I found it really interesting that there are so many Vabians who seem to be running away from Vabi.
Like displaced.
And whatever is going on. Yeah, they're not even displaced. I feel like they are just straight up cowards.
Right, they're running prematurely.
Yeah, whatever is happening up in Vabi, they're like, yeah, Istan's going to be safer. We're going to go down there. Oh, wait, there are Corsairs here? Maybe this was not such a great idea.
Yeah, and I think we learn more about the movement of the world in the main plot. Like, I think Vabi is at war with someone right now, and we don't really know enough about that. There's another nation called Korna, which we haven't really heard much about at all. That's where Tyria also was from, if you want to check that out. Listen to our Crystal Desert episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot we're learning next episode, I think, about what's going on in Istan and in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Until we hop on next episode, where can people find you on the internet, Miko?
The good people can find me at Inky Sticks on your social media platform of choice.
Awesome. And go ahead and follow us, Tyria, now on X or Twitter and on Blue Sky, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's where we post the Tyria Then Guild Wars playthrough podcast. And there's even a backlog of Tyria Now podcast episodes if you want to listen to very era-specific Guild Wars 2 commentary. So
we were very, very bitter.
Yes, go ahead and check all that stuff out. Follow us on all those things. And comment down below with any thoughts and feelings you have about anything we talked about or anything we didn't talk about. Because we like to interact with those and have a discussion after the fact. And until we come back next... what is it? This is going up on the 12th of February. On the 24th of February, we should have episode 29 ready for you guys. We will see everybody later. Make sure you check under your bed for mimes.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, guys.